Hello everyone, so just going to put together a quick little mobility video you guys can do in breaks whilst you are working. So it's really important to keep on top of a structure and keep yourself moving whilst we're in this weird times. This will be a really nice little drill just to open everything up and keep your body moving during your day. It's very easy to get stuck at your desk or at your table, wherever you're working for the entirety of the day and not make time to move. So going to start off with a nice simple one, getting a bit of movement through the hips, hands behind you, feet to more of a shoulder width. What I want you to do from here is let the leg relax over to each side. Starting reference point is about a 90-degree angle on each side. The arms, they're not a part of this really, you can just let them flow wherever feels comfortable. What you can do from here is then come up onto the feet, pivot over, and let them relax over to the other side. And just repeat this for, if you think, 5 to 6 times per side. What we're doing here is getting a real nice bit of rotation through the hips. And there's some really good drills that we can then do from this 90-90 position to level up as we go through. So I'm just going to do one more across to my left just for time and demo purposes. From this 2 90-degree angles here now, what we can do is get into the glutes quite nicely. So if you think about lining your ribs up with the knee, when your torso nice and tall, then cause brace to touch. And then from here, think about moving through the hips, hinging over the top, and going as far as you can. You're going to get a nice deep stretch into the hip, into the glute area, come back up, and repeat. So I go for about 5 times per side here, but again, just for video purposes, I'll just show you a couple on each side. So torso is nice and tall. Think about all the movement starts through the hip, and then hinge over. Cool. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go into almost a straight arm plank starting position. So hands and feet to hip width. I want to go into a bit of a down dog movement. So I want you to push your hips up, push the hands into the floor. Think about driving the heels towards the floor as you go up, then come back down. So we're looking at getting a big stretch through the posterior chain, which is a fancy term for the back of the body. Mainly through hamstrings, potentially a bit through the lower back, and down into the calves as well. If you think about pushing your heels down as you come to that top position, you'll get a bit more from the calves. But imagine someone's tied a rope around your hips, and that's just been drawn up away from you as you push out. If you get 5 or 6 of those in, at the end of the last rep you're going to do, I want you to then step forward to the outer side of the hand. Let's just make sure I'm in the frame here. Step back out into a down dog position again and level up into a nice little flow from there. Hips up, step through. Don't worry about going right up towards your hand straight away. If it's a bit of a challenge, start with smaller steps, and if you feel necessary, gradually work up from there. If you go for about 4 or 5 of these per side as well, that'd be perfect. Awesome. Then into all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Going to get a bit of rotation through our back. I want you to reach through the space between the hand and the knee. Allow the supporting arm to bend and think about gently pulling the shoulder towards the floor on the stretching side. Come back out, reset hand, and switch. Again, go about 4 or 5 per side with this. We largely want to go off of feel. Just look at getting a nice deep stretch into the centre of the back, around the shoulder blade area. Just open that space out. We can then drop into a child's pose from here, so take the knees a touch wider, let the hips sink back first so we can get into the adductor and inner groin area. Then reach the arms up overhead, let the head relax in between the arms, and sink down into that. And with this one I want you to go into breath, so if you go for 2 deep breaths in the nose and out the mouth in this position. Once you've done that, you can ease up and take your arms across to one side, keeping the shoulder width, and same again, sink back. With this change in position, you're going to get a bit more focus on the back itself, so you can feel it all the way from the armpit area down towards the hip. If you go for 2 breaths in the stretch and then over to the opposite side, that will open things up really nicely. To finish off with the upper body, what we're going to do, lay face into the floor. You're going to take one arm out to the side. I want you to think about placing your wrist, bicep and shoulder in contact with the floor. From this position, I'll switch my angles in a second so you get a better view. right hand comes in towards you. From here, push away, bring the foot across the back of the body, keeping the wrist, bicep and shoulder pinned in. Breathe into that for 2 breaths again, then ease off and switch. So hand comes into you, push away. Let me just show you that from head on. So we have the stretching side arm out to the side with wrist, bicep and shoulder, opposite hand in, pushing away from there to open up through the chest, out and switch. 2 breaths, go for 3 or 4 of those per side. We're going to finish off just a nice bit of wrist movement. So if you're typing away and using your mouse and all that sort of stuff throughout the day, we're probably using really small restricted movements as we go through. Fingers I want you to really spread out. And what I want us to do to begin with is just get a bit of rotation. So the arms are staying straight, think about pulling the elbow ditches towards each other and then away from each other. And go about 4 or 5 times with this. Then from here, maintaining the same hand width, just peel your hands off the floor lightly and walk around just as far as you comfortably can, maintaining that finger width. 2 breaths in that stretch and then ease off. Really important note with this is don't look to force anything, okay? Just work to where you get a bit of a stretch and a bit of feedback before you ease back off. 2 or 3 of these will be perfect. Then from here, take one hand into a light fist. You've got the thumb on the outer side of the hand here. And what we're going to do is we're going to straighten the fingers off, then draw down, laying the hand flat and pull back in. So with this, you may find that your elbow wants to bend. And that just indicates we've got a bit of tension down this area here on the back of the wrist. And with that, don't think about forcing and trying to get your arm straight like mine is. Just allow it to go into position it wants to, and just see if you can get that to gradually ease. And of course, we'll do the same on the opposite side. Again, stay into about 4 to 5 per side will be perfect. To finish up, you can go into a kneeling position, hands in close together, and just get some light rotations and circles through the wrists. There we go. So the video's taken just over 7 minutes, but if you think, well, you can easily get that into a nice 5-minute flow. Just spending some time once a day running through those drills would be really, really beneficial.